1999 to 2008. This was a difficult decade for America, but it ended well. At home, the Bush administration was methodically hacking away at social support systems that America had long supported. Abroad, the administration was pressing or threatening military action on a broad front. The Vatican demands for orthodoxy grew even more insistent. At home, another flare-up of the sexual abuse scandal came close to demoralizing good priests and devoted Catholics. The scandal may have consumed more editorial ink than any other issue, but it took several years for America and most of the Catholic press to be clear that in terms of offenders and victims, this was a rerun of the mid-90s. There was a very few new cases. What was new was the revelation that bishops had covered up the abuses, repeatedly shifting known offenders from parish to parish. A Catholic Watergate, one commentator said. On the social welfare issues, the editors deplored the morphing of compassionate conservatism into cruel ownership society. America railed futilely at the administration's enthusiasm for the death penalty and for guns, its hostility to immigrants, and rough detention methods. The gaping holes of the reform welfare system, growing income inequality, the 8 different Americas of healthcare, and the meanest cities list on a treatment to the homeless. America noted that the Supreme Court had a majority of Catholics for the first time in history, which caused the editors to hope for changes on abortion and the death penalty. The death penalty presented its first test of this hypothesis. Samuel Alito, a Catholic, wrote the majority opinion in its favor. But the hard decade ended well. America does not recommend presidential candidates, but it pointedly reminded readers that racism is a sin and that conscientious Catholics could vote for a pro-choice candidate if other life issues like torture and war outweigh the abortion problem. The editors did not conceal their satisfaction with the result. The election of Barack Obama was a chance to reverse the United States' dismal standing in the world. The opportunity comes not a moment too soon. That's the end.
Thank you.
Ryan, you're on.
Excuse me, I wrote this poem. It's 3 pages long, but it's large print so I can see it. Everybody's hearing aid is on? Okay, good. There's 2 parts that are participatory.
You get close to the mic, your mouth,
You mean you can't hear me?
without the mic, you can't.
Okay, there we go.
Now we can.
All right, I think you might recognize it's at the very beginning and at the very end. Okay, and the poem begins, Benedicamus Domino. Thank you. A grunted Deo Gratias follows as the blinding lights switch on and feet hit icy floors seeking slippers. The day begins. A staggered journey to the pots and some hot water for those quick to grab a sink, while the second in line waits for warm then cold slaps in the face, silence except for morning groans. Dress and scurry to chapel, meditation, silence while Father Herbert tries his best to warm us with a spiritual opening for the day. But as he said, heavy eyes slide closed. Mass begins with Latin intonations, missal and chalice veil, switch sides, and black and white clad servers respond in the monotone of the ancient tongue, while all prepare to receive the great mystery. Down the hollow steps to the refectory, seeking sticky tables encrusted with PB&J, and pitchers from the great tin tit brimming with cold milk. Grace finished, the tiny bell rings, and the noise of an awakened throng explodes. It seems like minutes before, the herd thunders across the campus to bed making, and a rush to classrooms call for philosophy, Greek, Latin lines prepared the night before, geometry, history, and chant progress under clock-watched eyes. Here's one, if you remember. Until Daniel Pano's Our Daily Bread is read at noon prayer. Lunch, then recreation, with the long-awaited football game under classmen and upperclassmen vie for the title, while Queens players respond to that director screaming, "Lines, lines, no, your lines!" Tasty cakes and Cokes fly over the canteen counter as mendicants gather to beg a buck, responding, "Go see Cornelius and get some money." Hey, can I get a haircut? Inexperienced barbers chop away. Writers in the night confer while the CSMC clips stamps. The coach's whistle calls the cagers. I had never heard that word until I got here. And basketball players, for the ladies who have never heard it either. Call the cagers to practice, and the usual suspects sneak down the station path with smoke billowing. Time for a quick shower and wet towels jammed into lockers. A bell, a dash, a prayer, you can make it in time for study hall. Homework, with books sliding in and out of desks. The pony, where's the pony? I need those last few lines. Finally, the bell, and the herd marches to the circle. Fingers crossed, outdoor rosary with a prayerful stroll on blacktop. Dinner served by the Old Navy cook. Later, self-service lines found us at dinner. Recreation with permission to watch half an hour of news, then study hall calls, with homework and a chance for that written plea home for more peanut butter and maybe a few extra bucks. Tired souls respond to the bell, chapel bound, night prayer, followed by a slow walk to dorms for bed and lights out. Each day was a pilgrimage, a journey toward a goal. We were in formation, a Salvatorian vision of our lives. Become not something, but become someone. And we did. Priests, family men, professionals, skilled workers, military servicemen, That path began in the black woods of South Jersey. We confronted many challenges in our lives. The Great Council urged a new liturgy, Latin-free. The Society, Salvatorians, moved from 6-6 to 4-4-4, priestly preparation. Transfers at MS, priestly vocations reconsidered, and finally, the sad news of the seminary's closing. Was it worth our youth? Look around this room as we gather. What was the gift of our quest, our foundation, identity, become the best man possible, true to self, justice, care for the weak, the marginalized, our neighbor, community, acceptance, love, and be other-centered in Christ. There has been a poetry to our lives. Oh, not the heart-stopping verse of Virgil, but a swirl of images of a time spent here, a time growing with friends still present and those who have gone ahead. Stanzas punctuated with happiness, sadness, frustration, and some joy. While our memories fade, as does our old campus, we hold fast. Mater Salvatoris, ora pro nobis. Oh, yeah, I can't believe you forgot.
Well done, Frank.
Thank you, Tony.